Hey there neighbors, Kevin here with eTrailer, and today we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the MORryde StepAbove RV Steps here on our 2023 Palomino Puma Unleashed fifth wheel toy hauler. So if you're looking for the most stable way of getting in and out of your trailer, a set of fold down steps is going to be the best option for you. Now in most situations, the trailers are going to come with a set of pull-out steps, which we have here at the back because we have a second door for our toy hauler. Now, as you can see, this comes out quite a bit. There's no way for us to really add on anything extra here, and we're going to really need to have a step stool sat out because this is a huge entry height. Realistically, you really only want about 7 to 8 inches for your rise, and right here we're looking at close to a foot. So that's an easy way to trip or fall when you're getting in and out of your camper. And on top of that, with the traditional pull-out steps, a lot of the time these start to get rusted up or caked up with debris. I mean, as you can see, there's stuff all over these because these live outside of our trailer. So it's really easy for mud or anything else, especially being right behind our wheels, to just kick right up on it. And then now we can't get our pull-out steps out because they're all stuck in there. Now with these steps, you are going to have a lot of traction here. So whether it's raining, sleeting, snowing, maybe it's just icy out because you're up north, we have grip little tread right here all along our steps all the way up to the top, and the top step actually has a much wider step on it just so that you have more space on there for your full foot to sit on, especially if you're sitting there trying to undo your lock and get in your entryway here. And at the front of each one of these steps is also some grip tape so that no matter what you're stepping on here, you are going to get some sort of traction so you're not falling down. Now, one thing I'd recommend to go along with your StepAbove steps is to swap out that old traditional door handle here because this really doesn't cut it too much anymore. It doesn't give you the full length. So if you have small kids and you need them to get up and down the steps, you really don't want them to have to go 3/4 of the way up, then grab onto a wobbly handle to get in and out of the trailer. Instead, you can swap this out. MORryde has the safety rail, which is a telescoping handle that's going to close up all the way tight against the trailer, which would also help you out in those situations where you have some other stuff in the way to where you can't turn the handle out of the way like we have with ours today. And that's going to telescope all the way out to the end of the steps, so that way we have something to grab onto all the way down at the ground as we climb up into our trailer. So we all know that our campsite's typically not going to be a level surface whenever we're there, so MORryde has started that as well with the adjustability on our legs here. So pretty simple. You just want to lift up the steps, take the pressure off of it, push in on this little latch, and then you can adjust your feet to match up that terrain. And this is separate for both. So say we have an uneven terrain that we're setting on and we need one step leg down further than the other, we can easily adjust that to make sure that we have a nice solid step every single time. So storage is super simple with this. There's no latch that you have to undo when you're going to put it back, so we can just lift up on it. Now I typically lift from the side. You could lift from the front as well and just go step by step to push it up into place. And then at the first step down from that main one, there is also a handle, which is pretty helpful. Not so much when you're pushing it back up into place because you already kind of have a grip on it to begin with. But when it's time to bring it back down, it's nice to be able to turn the latch, use that handle to pull with, and then you can walk the steps down and set them in place. As far as installation goes, this one is pretty simple. MORryde has amazing instructions with pictures that walk you right through it. They're going to have a nice little booklet for you, which is well above what most manufacturers do. With our case today, with this already having MORryde StepAbove steps in it, we could just pull the pins on our hinge and then pop in the new set of steps without actually having to really do any work at all. So if you already have a set of steps and you just need to upgrade to a larger one because your trailer height was either altered by messing with the suspension or just because they didn't really put the right one on for the terrain that you're going to be in, then you have an easy way of swapping it out. If you don't and this is a brand new build, maybe you have the pull-out steps and you're wanting to install this in, it's super simple. You just really got to match up your hinge plate right here with your door threshold, and then you can easily lift it up into place once you figure out where those brackets need to sit and just screw them in with the hardware that was provided. But if this is something you don't feel comfortable doing, maybe you just don't have the time to do so and you got a big trip coming up, then please feel free to use our dealer locator and you can enter in your zip code to find a shop near you and get these professionally installed. Now there are a few measurements that we are going to need to make sure that we are picking out the right set of steps, which I'm going to go through during our install So if this is something you are planning on doing yourself, please stick around and I'll walk you through the process. So our neighbor came to us with an issue with his steps. As you can see right now, this is from the factory. It's even got the Puma logo tied into it. So we're having a few issues with our height here. As you can see, I have the legs all the way maxed out, and we still have a bit of room. That leg is touching, but right over here we got a lot of wiggle room because this isn't coming down enough. We probably get one more click out of it. But even then, we still have a really high height here that we're having to step up onto, and that's not really ideal. Typically we're looking for about 7 to 8 inches in rise, and this is probably right around 11, maybe 12 inches. So it's not really what we want. That's not a comfortable step, and especially when you're out camping. If you're like me, you're typically out enjoying yourself. You might have had a few too many cold ones, and then when you go to step up into your camper, you might trip over that first step just because it's such a high rise right here. So we're going to help swap this out. Now with this being MORryde and us switching over to another MORryde step, the process to do so should be pretty easy because we should be able to just reuse the brackets that we already have by popping out our little bracket here. If we just pull this rod right out, we should be able to remove our steps. Now, not always the easiest, especially over time here, to get this out. You can see there's some water that's gotten in here and it started to rust a little bit, so I might spray a little bit of oil on here and then it should hopefully slide out pretty easily for us. All right, now that I got those out, I just sprayed a little bit of silicone lubricant on here and then also kind of worked them back and forth. You can see they're starting to get a little rust up and almost a little bent, like somebody was stepping on that part of the hinge. But once you kind of lift up on the steps, they'll take some of the pressure off and then it'll slide out a whole lot easier. And now we can just pick up our whole step and set it aside. So now that we have our steps out of the way, it's a good time to sit here and kind of do our measurements. Make sure that we are putting the right one in. So we're going to want to measure from the inside of our door flange, which is this the portion here where it's going to be the least widest. So we're right around 24 1/4, maybe a 1/16 over that for our width. So this is where your door closes up against. And then with the trailer level, we're going to measure up from the ground to the top of our threshold, which is putting me right around 40 5/8, maybe a little bit, maybe another 1/16, but pretty close. The steps we're going to be switching to is a 4-step system, and it's going to have a range up to 42 inches, so that's going to be well within our entry height here. So our neighbor has a much more accommodating rise out of his steps. So I'm going to try out these brackets first, and we're going to see if it lines up perfectly. Sometimes with the steps being custom order, there could be slight variances that might be a little bit different, or maybe just whoever installed it didn't just have it exactly perfect the first time. So we'll test it out. We'll add in the rods that we popped out of the brackets before, see how that feels, and if it doesn't feel good, we'll pop those brackets out and then screw them down where we need them to be. So on our new steps, I'm going to pop out that rod, take our brackets and set those aside. You can see how much smoother it is coming out while these are new. Set these up in here. And now I'm going to flip this around. One other small design change you can see here is before we had the latch just on one side. This one now has a dual latch so that you can easily just turn it and it'll unlatch from both sides. Set that rod right where I need my hand to be. There we go. Now it might be a little bit of a fight to get this perfectly lined up. But what I'm going to do is use the latch here to help hold the steps up while we fight it. So then we can lift up a little bit on the steps, slide it right in. There we go. And now we can test it out. Let's pull this down. As you can see, now we're a lot lower here with our first step. Get this evened out. Walk up it, we're good. Now the next thing we want to do is check our threshold. So let's close our door, make sure that the threshold isn't sticking up too high and preventing us from closing the door. Screen door is good. Entry door is good. So we know that's going to work out. And that should do it for the install side of this, since we don't actually have to replace the brackets. Now, if that was just not really lining up, or maybe those brackets were trashed and you needed to replace them, the way we would do this is essentially we're going to have it kind of butt up exactly where we need it to while it's sitting down. I would have my brackets sitting right there, and I'd just mark them from the inside. Typically you can kind of just reach around with the steps down, mark it, then I'll take it, pop it up, have the latch actually hold it in place while I drill all of my screws into my brackets. The other thing here is setting up our latch. So there's going to be 2 bolts on each of these brackets right here. You can loosen those up and then slide this in and out, and that's why there's this range when it talks about door width, because we can set this so that it can reach a variety of different door widths here. This side's pretty good. I am going to do a little bit more on this side, so I'm going to loosen this up and just bring it over probably about 1/8 of an inch. It's a little bit crooked. We got more down at the bottom than at the top. So we'll fix that real quick, make sure this is nice and tight and holding on perfect, because we don't want this to be able to swing back out or swing in. So I'm going to be using an 11mm socket, and we're just, like I said, sliding it over a bit more and then just retightening it down. And this isn't something you have to torque, you're just going to go till it's tight. And if we really wanted to, we could do this side too. I might just go ahead and do so anyway. So I've left about 1/16 of an inch on the outside here with our flange. It's a lot easier for that plunger to allow the whole step system to fall out on you, just because the plunger sits a little bit in compared to that flange on there on the outside. So that's why I really like to keep it as tight as I can, but make sure you have enough clearance so that it's not just rubbing on the door frame itself every time you want to open and close it. But with all that done, all we got to do is just drop down our steps, make sure that our legs are set at the correct height by either pulling them out, pushing in this button, and then pushing them back to go a little bit shorter, just depending on what our height is for our ground outside of our trailer. And that's pretty much it. Well, that's going to do it for our look at and installation of the MORryde StepAbove RV Steps here on our 2023 Palomino Puma Unleashed 5th wheel toy hauler. My name's Kevin, and if you still have some questions about what's going to be the right step replacement for your trailer, please feel free to reach out to us via our Ask the Experts link, a comment on this video, or a phone call to our customer service department, and we'd be happy to help you out on your journey.